Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.
I'm appalled at what you said on that pod thing. It's disgusting.
This is the After the Show podcast. It's where we get honest and real with your ass. So sit back, relax, have a blast, because it's time for the After the Show podcast.
Yeah, hello, and welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast here for your Thursday. Got a lot of emails to try to get through. I'll try to get through as many as we possibly can here today. Thanks for sending them in. Mail at kvjshow.com. There's a couple other just different things that people want to comment on from the regular show here today. I'll throw out some of the added bonus comments David had sent in. We were talking about the woman who was concerned about naming her baby girl Bella like she'd wanted to. She's 8 months pregnant because she just found out her sister named her dog Bella. And she doesn't, want now there to be that thought and confusion in the family. Be like, okay, which Bella are you talking about, the dog or your girl? So apparently that bothers her.
Yeah, but somebody did bring a point. That dog's not going to live forever, and your kid is going to way outlive the dog. And
in time,
everyone will forget about Bella the dog.
Yeah.
I'd let it go, but hey, what the fuck do I know?
Yeah. So David said before our daughter was born, we went through several names that we liked, but we couldn't decide on one. And at the time, I was working at a county jail. And one day I was fingerprinting a female inmate who was named Delaney. I really liked the name. So after I was done fingerprinting her, I called my wife and I said, hey, what do you think about Delaney? And she's like, oh, that's really good. How'd you come up with it? When I told her the circumstances, she said, no way. Hard no. Yeah, how did you come up with it? Well, I was fingerprinting this chick, and, she's a real bad girl, so. Let me see. Also, we were talking about how you knew when you married the wrong person. Mandy said, I knew I had married the wrong person when I found messages from him to old men he'd been hooking up with from Craigslist. He wasn't great. He wasn't gay, though.
Wait,
LMAO.
That's how she found out her man was sleeping with other men?
Yeah, he's sleeping with other men. And she's like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm not gay. He's like, yeah.
He was just doing it for money, or he really was gay?
She's like, I think that when she puts the LMAO, I think she's thinking, yeah, sure, you're not gay.
He was probably gay and getting paid. And so he was keeping the money from you, and he likes dudes.
Yeah.
Damn. That's a lot.
Yeah, they're that situation's not new to the world.
Oh, yeah, it's not.
Somebody who gets married when they're gay, and they're like, man, I obviously still have that gay itch because that's who they are.
Or maybe they're bisexual.
Yeah, and they try to go out and get a little bit of both. I can keep the whole family facade over here.
You can't marry the gay away just because you marry a straight girl.
When we did Misconnections, we saw that a lot. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I know a friend that did it. He tried to pretend like he was straight and married a girl, and then, 5 years down the line, finally had to tell her, look, I can't do this. And he was hooking up with dudes, and he felt terrible, but it was who he was.
Yeah, exactly. And that's got to be so liberating when you finally get to that point of be like, oh, gosh, I can actually be me and live how I'm supposed to live.
Love who you want to love.
I got to be me. I got to be free.
I know that movie. Mm-hmm.
Do you? Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Say, I got to be free. Tyler was talking about from a little kid and drunk adult. There was a girl that had branded her brother with a butter knife. He had seen it in a movie, thought it looked cool. They were little kids. And obviously he realized pretty quickly how badly it hurt. Tyler said, I was a drunk adult and was branded by my best friend. And I branded him as well with a giant Ed Hardy lighter.
Oh, damn.
How manly is that? I branded myself with an Ed Hardy lighter.
Yeah. That's rough.
He said, I still have the scar. However, I believe my friends no longer does.
Huh.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, I played baseball with some guys that would try to give themselves that like a a scar tattoo kind of a thing.
That's branding.
Yeah.
It's a fraternity thing. I've seen guys in fraternities with that.
They will, yeah. Some fraternities will brand you.
It's supposed to look like a cross. I'm not sure it really looked like a cross.
Right.
Kind of like a blob.
It's a tricky thing to do.
Yes, it is.
It's horrifying.
Very tricky thing to do, yeah.
Next week's, not sudden death, but do it bitch punishment. Got to brand KVJ in your arm.
I like it. Yeah, it's good. Let's go with that.
I have a boyfriend that branded a V in his leg.
Wow. I mean, can you blame him?
Oh, I know.
We did not stay together.
She just leaves that mark on you.
We did not
No, didn't
stay
last.
together.
I played, or I knew a guy back in the day, and he was with his girlfriend, and it was kind of out of character for him to do this. This is back in high school. He got with her and really liked her, and he got a haircut, got her initials in his hair, and she got completely freaked out by that and broke up with him. Because,
Wow.
the fuck you doing? Putting my initials in your hair for everyone to see? This is weird, dude. And it was out of character for him, and it kind of devastated him.
That's tattoo light.
That is. And he didn't ask. He just did it.
In high school, that's a bold move.
It is a very bold move, especially if you didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
You just did it.
Let me see a couple other things from today's show. We dropped probably the biggest story of the day is that Brittney Griner, the WNBA star who was held for months in the Russian prison on those drug charges, was released. A one-for-one prisoner swap for international arms dealer Victor Bout.
A.K.A. the Merchant of Death.
Yeah.
That's his name?
That's his nickname.
Got a tough little nickname there. I got to do a little bit of a deeper dive. He was serving a 25-year sentence. He was 11 years in when they did that. And, you know, there's a lot of feelings about it. Now, I think it's great that she's out. And I know especially, you know, there are a lot of athletes that are like, this is great. Katie Smith, a girl that I grew up with, that is a WNBA legend in her own right. She had tweeted out amazing news. BG is coming home. So there's obviously there's a lot of good in that and getting an American home onto our shores. But the criticism is coming in because there is a retired U.S. Marine, Paul Whelan, who was imprisoned in Russia when he went over in December of 2018 for a friend's wedding. And the Russians tried to say that he was a spy. And so they sentenced him to 16 years for espionage. And this is the 4th anniversary of his time in Russian custody. And a lot of people thought that you should have held out and he should have come home without a doubt as well. So hopefully negotiations aren't over, and the president is saying that we're not forgetting about him. We're going to continue negotiations to try to get him home. But I think just a lot of people are like, why is Brittney the first? You know, let's bring our servicemen and women home first, and then we'll worry about our athletes.
Well, shouldn't it be like at the Publix deli? You get served in the order you were received. So if the Marine was there first, how you going to keep him there and send her home and she just walked in?
Also, too, the Merchant of Death, we can't get one more person back here? We're giving you the Merchant of Death, and we can't get the Marine back as well as part of this deal?
The Marine and the Brittney.
A lot of the criticism.
For the Merchant of Death.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If this were trading cards, and I'm openly saying I don't know much about this, and I'm sure I'm going to sound ignorant.
Yeah.
But you would hope you would also get the Marine. That just goes with trading card stuff.
Yeah.
If I give you a Babe Ruth,
right.
you know,
Yeah.
I want 3 or 4 cards for that.
Yeah. Or if we were talking football, it would be like getting me instead of Tom Brady. You know, that would be about the equivalent of the value of the trade. And, some of the comments that have come in, somebody said, they didn't do this because it was the right thing. They did it for the headlines. That part is disgusting about it. And so I would just say, you know, give them a chance, and hopefully they will continue to be diligent and make something happen. So I don't know. I don't know who the next person is, though. I mean, if the Merchant of Death they get for Brittney Griner, or what is it? Are they going to get like
the devil himself?
The spike-headed devil baby killer? Is that going to be the nickname of the next guy they trade for the...
I mean, the Merchant of Death, that guy certainly is a scary dude.
So if that's the trade equivalent, yes, what exactly are we going to have to release to get this?
We can't break off one more person bringing him home?
Yeah.
For the Merchant of Death?
That's the big question here. So we'll see.
Why don't we put this on our social media and see how that goes?
Well,
what do you guys think of
it's
this?
Very much one-sided. It's you know how everybody feels. There are a lot of people that are like, okay, this is great. Brittney Griner is coming back.
Yes.
But right now,
no one wants her to be in a Russian work prison.
Of course not.
right. So
But we also want that Marine to come back too.
Right.
do.
And show respect to the Marines, because guess what? A lot of shit don't happen without the Marines.
that's right, and that's where a lot of people's feels are right now. Now, to be fair to the president, he had traded a Russian smuggler convicted of conspiring to import cocaine for Trevor Reed, who was a former U.S. Marine that had been imprisoned in Russia for nearly 3 years. So he has, our president now, has done this before. So you're holding out hope. But, yeah, a lot of people would say, let's get the Marines home first, and then, we'll deal with the others. And maybe because of the headlines and the pressures and other celebrities that were leaning on the president, he may have gone that way first.
I'm not trying to sound pandering, but a lot of people do take the Marines for granted. Look.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean, my aunt is a retired lieutenant colonel in the Marine Corps.
Let's call her and ask her what she thinks.
My whole family. Yeah, my uncle retired Army. And so, yeah, I mean, the military's very big in my family. And so you know where their feels are on this right now. And
she's probably cursing and kicking things.
she can't believe it. Yeah, she's
But she's
not
cursing, like, oh, dag nabbit.
Yeah.
Very religious-like.
Yeah.
Loves the Lord, loves the Marines.
I don't think she's going, motherfucker.
That son of a bitch.
Although that'd be pretty. Would that weird you out if you start dropping some? She goes on social media, motherfucker.
I wouldn't be able to believe it. I've never heard a swear word out of her, my mom, my aunt. Yeah, all three of those sisters never.
They never
once,
cursed.
Never. Yeah, collectively.
Wow.
One swear word ever.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's where they're dialed in. Judy said being famous has its perks, and it does.
It does.
It does. It looks like in this instance.
I know that's people don't want to hear that, but it's true. People get out of shit because they're famous.
They do, yeah. And this is probably one of those instances, and so there were a lot of big name people that were leaning to get Brittney Griner freed, and we still got a Marine that's over there. So anyone, with the military, just stand up and be loud and keep leaning on the president and make him remember daily that we still have a U.S. Marine that is over there in Russia, and let's get him back.
Is he the last one they got?
I don't know. I'm going to do a deeper dive on it today.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
You're the guy to do it.
Yeah, I'll do a deeper dive and see what I can, because admittedly, I don't know much about the Merchant of Death. And
Yeah, let us know about the sweet side of the Merchant of Death. I'm sure, just like everything.
Does his mother love him?
He's got a great backstory, Kev, I'm sure.
He's got a tender side. He loves bubble baths and champagne.
Mm-hmm. You were talking the other day with the moon launch and where America was at that time, and was everybody all pumped about the moon launch? Did it bring all Americans together in a triumphant moment when we had beaten the Soviet Union or Russia?
Well, if you watch a documentary, they make it sound like we were flying high together as a country. Everybody was so fucking jacked for the moon.
Moon, moon, moon.
Yeah, and I just want to know, because I didn't live through that time period, was that really the temperature of the atmosphere?
Right. Well, Doug, who was around that time, he said, tell Jaybird that while a lot of people were behind the moon landing, it was not a completely together time. There were a good number of people who protested the moon shot, saying, why are we sending people in space and not taking care of the problems here on Earth? The Vietnam War was raging and protests were common, and the 1968 Democratic Convention was called a police riot. In 1968, both Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert Kennedy were assassinated, and both setting off riots. I was in high school, and a lot of people were talking of a revolution and the end of America then, as many do now.
Well, it just makes me, the older I get, when you're little and you're growing up, you hear of all the back then and remember the time. And anybody who's presenting that to you, they're kind of giving you their own perspective of that. And just like that email said, not everyone was, fuck yeah, the moon's bringing everyone together. 'Cause I don't think that ever does exist.
Yeah. There's probably still always going to be underlying issues because you're going to have people that have differing opinions. But hopefully that's the one thing as Americans we can say, look, we'll have people that are going to disagree. And that's what's great about our country is you can be very vocal about that. But remember that you're all Americans and we come together to root for our soccer teams and our NASA and everything else because we're all still Americans.
How quick was it when people started saying, this bullshit's fake, no one landed on the moon? When did that start to happen?
That's a great question, yeah.
How quick after the landing did that
Yeah.
really go down?
Great question.
And let's say you really did go to the fucking moon and you did all that work and then you got people going, you didn't land on the moon, Kevin. You didn't land on the moon.
Right. No,
and you really did.
There are a lot
They
of
have
people.
trolls.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was real life trolls.
Well, there's so many instances where that has happened. Sandy Hook, that has happened. The Holocaust, that has happened. Where people try to say that was a fake event, and imagine you're like, excuse me,
Going through some shit and then someone's got the balls to tell you
to
it's
say that
fake.
didn't happen. You're lying. What? I'm lying. Okay.
There are people who definitely do believe the moon landing was fake. They
Yeah.
go to great lengths to show you how it happened.
Sure. Yeah. Got an email here from Ashley, and I had seen they'd popped that Casey Anthony footage up today about her documentary on the news. I couldn't figure out why they were just randomly talking about it. I don't know if, because I think her documentary's been out on the Peacock, and Ashley said if y'all haven't watched the show yet, please do, because I'd love to know the opinions from all of you. Call me crazy, but I'm actually starting to believe her. Maybe she's just a really great liar, but it's hard to believe that she's making all this up. She hasn't really earned a whole lot of trust given her pattern of lies by the way she explains things in this interview, though it makes me wonder if now she's just being completely raw and putting it all out there. She admits that she's a liar, so it's very difficult to tell whether or not she's telling the full truth. However, I think this needs to be put to bed. The fact of the matter is, the baby is dead. I get what she feels, the need to cleanse herself of guilt, but she needs to leave this alone. I think she's only making it worse. What she needs to understand is that she's told so many lies that it's incredibly difficult to trust anything that she says, but I do believe there is truth sprinkled in. This has to be hard to watch.
Well, that's the most dangerous kind of liar that says some truth and then says some. And that's what a good liar will do is kind of fall on the sword and say, I've lied to you in the past, but now I'm going to be on, almost kind of saying, I did wrong. Here's my sins, but now I'm telling the truth. It kind of gives you a reset, in quotes, which a good liar can do that.
That's why I talk to my sons and kids incessantly, but especially because, my one son's told a couple fibs, and I said, you got to be really careful, man. I said, because if nobody believes you, I said, that's one of the worst things. I said, the only thing that you really, truly have is your character and your honor. I said, don't be one of those people that nobody can ever believe, or you're not going to do what you say.
Well, they can always come back and say, well, you lied about that. Why?
Absolutely.
How are you telling the truth about this?
Right. You just have to be that kind of person. And there are a couple people, like I know my dad's never, ever lied that I know of on anything. And so if he told me something happened, I'd be like, he at least believes it. Now, he may be wrong in what he thinks he saw or what he thinks is going on.
But he's not going to come with the BS.
Right. Exactly.
Some people in the chat room are saying, yeah, my wife's watching it. She's starting to believe her.
I got a friend of mine who's like, you got to watch it because she thought Casey was guilty. And now that she's watched it, she's like, I don't know. I think the dad did it. I'm like, what? I don't know if I want to put that much time into it.
You don't.
I don't.
Yeah.
And on TikTok, they're still coming for Casey and bringing all kind of evidence that, Casey lied her ass off.
There's a lot of weird shit that went on in that case. I know because Aunt Ann used to yell at me when I talked to her during the trial.
It was big. It was
Shut up,
big.
Jay-Bird.
She would, man.
Yeah,
and
it was
she
on
loved
every
her
night.
Jaybird, but don't you fucking talk during the Casey Anthony trial.
It was on every night. One comment in the chat says, my wife is a psychologist, and she as well is starting to believe Casey Anthony.
Oh, boy.
But that doesn't mean anything.
No, it doesn't, but it just goes to show you that she may be a very gifted liar.
Well, they're always going to be, if you give someone a microphone, no matter if they're a liar or if they suck or whatever, they're always going to get some amount of people that's going to just get behind them, no matter what. That's just the way of the world.
Yeah, no doubt.
You're giving her a documentary where I'm sure they have to approve it, her people in her camp, and they're going to make the best documentary they can to make her look like she's innocent.
It looks like it's well done. Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't. It looks like something that is of network quality.
Oh,
Whoever
it
did
definitely
And I
is.
assume it is because if it's Peacock, it's NBC and their production department that did it.
What I'm saying is they know it's going to be a pro Casey Anthony kind of a documentary. She's doing this to make her get her reputation look better with people.
Yeah, and now at least it sounds like she's planting a splinter of doubt in a lot of people's brains that she may say, that's good enough for me. And Michael said it's all about the money, and that's probably the other part of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I get to change history and maybe turn everybody.
It's a win-win, even
Yeah.
putting that splinter of doubt. And
Splinter of doubt plus cash.
She's
yeah.
getting money, and she's also getting some support where she hasn't had anything. So anything she gets is going to be better. It's a home run move for her personally.
yeah, no doubt. It'll be interesting to see what it does to her image and how people feel about her after it's sunk in and more people have watched it.
Well, maybe we can see her out in public, and Virginia can be drunk. I can't hear that.
She kind of came to one of our events.
She did. She came to and after we were there for cocktails and karaoke, and she came towards the
She came to
end.
the after party.
Not because
Yeah,
of
no,
us.
there's nothing that we know of to assume that she's a KVJ Nationer or is a fan of the show.
We
She
know
just was at a place where we were.
Stallone is.
We hope. Stacy said you guys were talking about having to tip everybody lately. Well, yesterday, now I've seen it all. I got my car tires replaced. And at the end, when I paid with my debit card, the options popped up and asked me, do you want to tip 10, 15, 20, or skip? Right when I saw this option, the girl behind the counter said, you can leave a tip if you'd like. I said, tip who? The tire tech guys? You for running my card? Even just 10% of the $700 is $70. Just really kind of created an awkward moment.
Yeah,
didn't
when
love
you're
this.
asking for the tip, that's weird.
Well, that is, you ran my card and you're going to get $70 for that? I mean, that's
Fuck
more than,
no.
I mean, imagine if you went and got a really big dinner and somebody's hustling and running and all that stuff. When's the last time you'd ever even leave a tip? What would the bill have to be to leave that kind of tip even? Like $350?
If you tipped on everything you had to go, just regular life, you would be broke.
Yeah.
I got to tip the crossing guard. I got to tip the cashier. You wouldn't be able to live your life.
That's it. Yeah, if you started adding it all up.
No, your average
Minute to
person
minute.
can't do that.
Right. Especially when people now are struggling.
Well, it's especially it's something with it's not a common thing. Most
Right.
people don't think about tipping in that situation, and then you're going to go ahead and say, "You can tip me."
Well, and you gotta. To me, the tipping has to come with a justifiable reason, and she said it right there. I feel that way a lot too with somebody. I'm like, am I tipping you for running my card? In fact, a lot of times I'm running my card. You've stood there the entire time. You have exchanges now where all they do is they take, for instance, prepared food, they grab it, they do a 180, and they set it on a counter, and then they look at you, and you're like, tip for what? You picked up and you did a turn.
I've got a question about something that happened to me last week. So I set up all the food for the boat parade for the Little Smiles boat. 75 people on a boat, light appetizers and snacks and food and fruit and desserts.
And those motherfuckers didn't tip you.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Simmer down.
I'm just kidding.
No, but I went to a place. It's a place that does catering. So you walk in and it's like a counter and you order everything and they make like a bunch of wraps or a bunch of little mini grilled cheese sandwiches or a guacamole dip. But you buy it in bulk. And the total of all the food was like $1,000. And then they flipped that thing around and showed me, okay, here you go. You want to tip 20% of $1,000? And I was like,
They asked you.
well, it was on the thing where you swipe your card. So I was going to swipe the card, and it says, what do you want to tip? 20%, 15%, or 25%. Those are the three choices.
Jeez, there's.
And I was like, okay, well, that's a lot of effing money. It was going to be like, I don't know, $250 for 25%.
Here's where the
Like, that's a lot.
Here's where the problem is for this is, and she even said it. There's confusion. If you do above and beyond service and do something great, I trust me, I love tipping people. I
We
think
all
it's
do.
awesome. But if I can't understand what you did, to me, I am a big fan of paying for what something is worth. If you provide me a service, I want to give you something for that. And if I don't know, and I'm thinking I'm giving you $70 for running my card, am I tipping the techs? Is that what it is? Be specific. Say, the guys who do the tire stuff, they get a base salary, but if you think they've done a very good job with your car and you're very satisfied with the work or how quickly they got you out of here, you could leave a tip. Now, that doesn't mean it should be 10% even of $700 tires. That shouldn't be the option at that point. But give me something that makes me feel, hey, you know what? Each one of you guys deserves $10. That'd be great. There were 2 texts, $20. I'm okay with that. That's a good tip. But when I'm standing there and I'm faced with $70 and I think maybe it's going right to the girl that just smiled at me and I ran my own card, I'm like,
What's happening here?
Why am I just giving you $70?
You nailed it, Kevin. There's too much confusion. And you're right. You pay for a service. You want to know, I paid $70 for whatever I just paid for. And if there's anything I need to do above and beyond, that's up to me. And then I do that. But if there's confusion with that, you're never going to get that.
If you can't identify a service, what am I tipping for? Now, maybe on all things, I try to inform myself. I realized, and we talked about this, that even getting carry out, there is somebody that packs that all up. They put it together, and I might tip them, but I may not tip them like somebody who's running back and forth to a kitchen. So that's a 10% or 15% tip for you for doing that, because I understand the work.
We had somebody years ago call in and say, yeah, on to-go food, you should tip 10%. And that made sense to me. That felt rational to me. So that's what I do. That's what I did the other day for that really large order that was like just over $1,000. I think I tipped him $120.
And you weren't expecting that at all.
I was not expecting that, because I think $120 is a lot of money to put together an order.
Right.
But I just kind of defaulted to what my brain told me, 10% for takeout.
Well, if you did that at Pollo Tropical and they prepared all that food, you would buy the food. Would you have to tip them?
Great question.
You wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
You wouldn't tip them because that's part of their.
Right.
That's part of the.
But if they turn that screen around to you like everybody is doing now,
they are.
And the screen says, "What do you want to tip? 15%." 20% or 25%. Those are the 3 options.
Yeah.
So if you want to defer from those numbers, you have to pick a different button, which is smaller and towards the bottom, and it says custom tip, which I did. I put custom tip. And then I sat there and did the math on what 10% would be, and I figured $120 was like a little more than 10%, but it's a $120 tip, and I picked up the food. I carried it to the car.
That doesn't. Exactly. There should be the right amount for what the work is, and some of these businesses need to explain what this is and say, "Hey, here's the work that was done above and beyond what is typically done of just preparing your food. So whatever you think is adequate, we bustled all this and put the things in bags." Now, how tough is that? If you went to Publix and you bought $200 worth of groceries and they bagged that up for you, are you going to tip your cashier $20 or $30 because they put your food into bags? I mean, imagine what that would be. I mean, you
can't do it.
Well, and that's it. And that's what some of these businesses, that's where Americans are looking at this. Right now, I saw this today from the UPI. More than 2/3 of American shoppers are struggling to even afford groceries.
And we're talking about tipping the mail person and then the cashier. That's my point is it's not a realistic thing. You can't sustain that kind of lifestyle without just fucking shooting your foot off.
Yeah, and so if you want a tip, explain to me what was done above and beyond. Explain to me, and then let me pick what I think is suitable for that.
And then what the naysayer would say to you, Virginia, is, well, if you can't afford all that, then don't go out to eat, blah, blah, blah.
But I didn't go out to eat. I picked up takeout and I carried it myself.
Yeah, no.
From a catering place that is, by the way, very overpriced for what they give you.
Okay, I want to write it down.
Very overpriced because
you want to dox them so bad, but you're not.
I'm not going to dox them, but I'm not going to be going back. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Not for what I got.
Right.
Don't you hate that when you spend a lot of money at an establishment and A, they're fuck faces, and then B, it's not even that good.
They were nice. They weren't fuck faces, but I just felt like that whole tip thing made me feel weird. And then the fact that I felt shortchanged by the amount of food, I was like, wait, what?
I apologize.
It was not enough food for what we paid.
I was bringing my own baggage into that situation.
Yes.
They were actually very sweet. They were not fuck faces.
Well,
But
I'm talking about that kind of situation. When you do have, kind of like the other night, we went to the pizza place.
Yeah, they were fuck
It was a lot of
faces.
money. They were fuck faces. We tipped good, and it wasn't good pizza.
yeah, that was. I will not go back.
And I'll never go back.
Never.
Cheryl said, have you heard of this Alexa feature where you can tell Alexa, hey, thank my driver, and now the drivers get a bonus for every time?
What?
Have you heard of this Alexa feature where you can tell Alexa, hey, Alexa, thank my driver, and now the drivers get a bonus for every time?
A cash bonus? Am I paying for it?
I don't know. That's all it says in this comment, so I'm not really sure.
I tip the Uber and the Lyft, but I do it right there on the app.
Oh, it's for Amazon delivery, I
Oh,
guess.
Amazon.
Yeah, okay. Thank you,
Oh.
Anna.
I don't tip the Amazon. Am I supposed to tip the Amazon driver?
Yes, I'm telling y'all, that's not. I wish we lived
Yeah.
in a world where we could tip everybody. I want everyone to be freed from any kind of
Yeah.
a country that they're not supposed to be in. I want people to get as much money as they can. I want people to get good tips, but it's not something most people can do.
I'll tell you what Americans want, because I've seen enough of these comments. It's overwhelming. They want businesses to pay their employees livable wages, pay them good money, and give me one standard price where if I don't give a certain right amount, I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
People don't want to be an asshole, but
Exactly.
they're uninformed, they don't know, and they feel like everywhere they turn, somebody else is taking more and more money from them. So it would be great to get to that point. I understand there's a lot of hurdles and why we have tips and this and that. We've gone down that road before, but it would be nice to start figuring out a little bit better how we can get to a place where people make good money. Like I said, my daughter, she works at a place where she's a server and she doesn't get tips. You know, she gets a good wage for what she does there, and the people who eat where she works, they don't have to worry about tipping because what they pay in the food, it all comes out and she's well taken care of.
It's a country club.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. For the first year at the Fancy Country Club, it was all tips, and you could make a lot of money. Then they go, no, we're not going to do tips. We're going to pay you a higher wage, which they
Yeah,
did.
right.
But I ended up losing money because there was big time, and they were such dick faces about not giving a tip to the people. And there's nothing more annoying than hear millionaires talk about, don't give that guy $1. No, don't give him $1.
And so
It's against the rules.
Remy says if they have restaurants eliminate tips and increase wages, the restaurants will increase prices. And yeah, where my daughter works, it is a high-end country club, and people don't want to, get away from that system because they want to be able to eat out more. But in this whole scenario, someone is going to get cheated. And the people that get cheated are the servers because they go in with people that tip $1 or nothing. And in this whole scheme, somebody's losing. It's either the consumer, the business owner, or the server. There's three people in this exchange. And if they're not going to pay the server a livable wage, then it's going to be the server that's going to get fucked. That's just somebody has to lose in this. And so a lot of people are like, yeah, well, I don't want to eat out less. I love eating out. I don't want restaurants to raise their prices. So I don't want to be the one that gets screwed. Let's screw the servers. And that's really what it comes down to, right? Isn't this what this is all about?
Yep, somebody's getting
The
screwed.
servers get screwed.
Ugh.
That's what we say.
I hated working at a country club. Rich people. Oh man, there's the nice
tough, yeah.
rich people were very
Right.
cool, obviously. But anyway, if someone's a dick, they're already annoying. If they're a rich dick,
Yeah.
forget about it. 'Cause they have all their money. They think they're better than you.
Yeah.
A lot of times they are.
Linnea said, I love you, Kevin. However, I've noticed that after watching older shows, your height while sitting in your chair has microscopically shrunk over the years. According to my calculations, you sit lower approximately 1/5 of a millimeter every day, and that makes me sad.
She's right.
Are you shrinking?
There's a photo of when I used to stand. That's a photo of when I used to sit high. And then the bottom photo is kind of where I sit now.
Damn.
You need to be in the medium, the middle porridge. That middle one's good. You're so low that Virginia can't even see when you're going to hit the commercial brake button.
Yeah, the problem and the reason why I lowered below that is I kept hitting my knee on the counter because when you pull in, and it was getting to the point where I was getting a lot of bruises on my knees, and it really hurt like a motherfucker. And so I said, I'm going to go a little lower here, and it's a little bit more comfortable. So, yeah, I've lost my vision with Virginia, but my knees right now are in pristine condition. So, yeah, I'm in a no-win
Nobody
situation
wants
right now.
a DJ with the dirty knees.
Yeah.
It's crazy because both of you don't see a lot of shit, and I see both of it. Virginia will say some crazy shit. Kevin will roll his eyes.
Yeah, it'd be nice, and hopefully we'll get a studio rebuild and a new design where
They're
it's not gonna
talking
be a
about
problem.
it.
Yeah,
They're talking about switching up this room a little bit.
yeah. So that's the reason why I sit lower these days. Is I'm getting older, and when I smack my knees, it seems to hurt more.
I think I said 2033. We're supposed to maybe get a
2033.
33.
It's what, another 5 contracts away.
another 10 years down the road, but it's going to be sweet.
Astra said, this morning I heard about the burp wall, the wall of computers that is between Virginia and Kevin, because Virginia was burping on Bird earlier. For one day only can we have Jaybird and the lovely V switch seats, so V faces Kevin and vice versa. I want to see if it throws everyone off. Also, what about the viewers? Just a thought.
Yeah, I'm down.
Sure, I'll switch.
We can do it tomorrow. It can be Freaky Friday. Yeah?
The only thing, I just need a computer.
Yeah.
But then I'll use your laptop and you can use this desktop.
Okay.
Remy said, how would you guys ideally lay out the studio? To me, it would probably be more of a triangular formation where to my left I could see Virginia's face, to Jaybird on my right, and my computer screen in front of me is how I think I would do it. And then that way I can still see all the content and the comments, and I'd be able to see your faces.
And we'd be able to see your lovely face.
Yeah, that'd be my thought. Astra also said, I want to know who came up with Do It Bitch. I played the similar kind of game during my last party with my friends and their wives, and it was so much fun. The punishment was taking shots of tequila, which made the game more fun as we went along. Yeah, Do It Bitch came up. We used to do something, the 5 and 10 game, where we would come up with a topic and you had to name 5 and 10 seconds. And then I had seen, I think it was a show in Philadelphia. It's very good. They did it where they did the wager concept and with the partners where I bet you can't name so many. And so from there, we took that concept. Then I molded and I said best of 5 out of 2 groups feels right. We do a lot of punishment stuff for a lot of our contests, and then we'd had another name. I think it was the name that they had was Bet Your Ass. And Virginia in here, she was like, she came up with Do It Bitch, the name.
Do it, bitch.
Yeah, she's like, Do It Bitch.
And we started laughing. I'm like,
And
yeah,
we
it's
started
called Do
laughing,
It,
like-
bitch.
We're like, yeah, that fits us more. And so, yeah, Virginia has the naming rights, and yeah, molded from kind of an older contest, and then the bidding came from a show in Philadelphia.
She ain't got them jingle rights, though. Got to talk to my lawyer.
Yeah.
You don't got no lawyer.
You're right. It's well, we do. We share one.
Do we have a lawyer right now?
I don't know. Objection. I don't
I
know.
don't think we do.
You're looking at him.
Johnny
right here.
Holstaff.
Kevin's dad?
Me.
I would love Kevin's dad as a lawyer. I know that motherfucker would defend me. And when I say motherfucker, I mean that as a very
Just don't let him hear
loving
you
term.
call him motherfucker.
But I know.
Thanks.
It's a loving term. I
He
swear.
ain't go get it.
If I'm talking about someone's asked me about Kevin, I love that motherfucker. It's like it's an endearing term.
We know you're a sweet motherfucker. We know you don't mean nothing by it, but his dad doesn't talk like
Well, I
that.
don't think his dad's definitely checking out the podcast either.
Does that motherfucker listen?
I'd
be
say
fucking
it's safe
serious.
to say he does not.
If that motherfucker listened, I'd be tickled pink.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for all the emails, conversations. Send them to us, mail@kvjshow.com. Got one more day to the weekend. We're going to be here with you on Friday. Goodbye.
Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.